Right, welcome everyone who's listening to Bucks Paranormal Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. We're back for a second episode with Rob, who we knew as from the Wakefield Ghost Walk. Rob still is in the Wakefield Ghost Walk person, but he's also got other projects going on, which we will discuss a bit later on. So, Rob, thank you for joining us again and coming back.
No, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me on board again. No, I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
I know you had a lot going on since the last time we spoke, and things have been kicking off a lot.
Oh, just a bit. There's been all sorts of events that I've been asked to take part in, and lots of things that are kind of coming up, which is quite interesting, which I know we'll get into. So yeah.
We'll definitely get into that. Firstly, I've been following your page a lot on Facebook. I've been sharing as much as I can as well, and looking into it. We still want to come down there. Our team, the team I work with, Amanda's Paranormal Haven. If no one's heard of them, check them out. They're on Facebook. It's a private group. They don't really use a main page, but that'll be the team that I'll go about with live investigations and stuff. But kicking off, Wakefield Ghost Walk. I've been watching, and many people have as well. It's really taken off. So, what do you think is the driving popularity? Like, what's kicked off? It was getting big last time we spoke.
Yes.
But I know you were kind of just starting off then, weren't you? It seems like massive.
Yes, it was literally just starting off. It had been running for a few months. Since doing it, it's literally just taken off and snowballed. I mean, pretty much every date we've got up to July, well, the back end of July.
That is Rob. Sorry, I know people will be commenting. That is Rob's dog in the background. It's not no paranormal entity.
Sorry, no,
that's Rob's dog.
My dog's in the other room with my wife at the moment. I've literally just come back from shift, so obviously she's very excited to see me. I've already seen the dog, but that's what you can hear in the room. So
and another point, we have both literally finished work about 20 minutes ago. So
yes,
I'm on my first vodka Red Bull of a Friday night, as it's pre-recorded, and Rob's got his own drink as well. So
I have definitely. But no, literally it's been fully booked up all the way to the back end of July. So again, it's been incredible the response that we've had, and every time I'm releasing ticket dates, they more or less fly out. But the stories as well have kind of got more in depth and more factual. And when I mean more factual, it's not that what I've said before is wrong, but like, for instance, at the Black Horse, there was a story of a teenage girl falling from one of the windows.
Did you speak on that last time, or is that something new you found out?
I can't remember if I spoke about it. I know we talked about it perhaps being a disorderly house at the end of the 1800s, which we do believe that was. Disorderly house, obviously. Inn was downstairs. Questionable things happened upstairs is probably the more gentleman way to say it. But the rumour was that this teenage girl that was like a lookout for the family was pushed or fell from the attic window. That is basically the story, and apparently there's been footsteps, screams and things like that heard from that room, and all different things. Now,
so that I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off a little bit. So is that the factual thing, or is that what the rumour is?
That was what the rumour was. There was links, obviously, with the family name, and I traced it down that the family name that was kind of most prominent in the pub at the time, which was in 1856, and it was a landlord called Joseph Robinson, was in the pub at that time. We do believe he was the landlord that ran it as a disorderly house. That is it's all true, but the teenage daughter falling from the window, that was like kind of a story that's been passed around, but I was trying to chase like the newspaper articles, anything about that, about a death falling from that window. And I wasn't being able to pin anything down with it up until about a month and a half ago, when I managed to do some research and found out that in 1828, so you're talking a good nearly 30 years before even this landlord Joseph Robinson was in the pub, and the pub had only just been open for 10 years, there was a man that stayed in one of the upstairs rooms, 60 years old, by the name of Sykes, and he sleepwalked out of the window and died.
It wasn't Bill Sykes, was it?
No, it wasn't Bill Sykes. No. It was a gentleman called Paul Sykes from 1828. If memory serves me right, he was a plumber who was just literally stopping there the night. Nobody knows quite how he managed to sleepwalk out the window, because the window itself you would have to step onto, and it is very narrow, so you'd have to duck your head under. So how
Yeah.
you would do that sleepwalking, again, it's very questionable, but that one did happen, and it is from that same window, and that gentleman did die. So it's not to say that a girl didn't fall 30 years later. That could well have happened, but there's definitely a death that's linked to that window, which to me, that light is like, oh my God, how amazing is that I've tried to track down something, and whilst I've not been able to pinpoint one
And
story,
something else.
it's opened up something else. Yeah,
And like
definitely.
back in the day, those windows would be like the heavy duty push up, wouldn't they? Like, you got to
Exactly.
wedge them into place.
Yes, definitely. Which again, it's just like kind of how things like that, the stories that kind of been told over time, how they developed and gone on. It's just incredible. That's what happened with the Wakefield one, and the Pontefract one has done the same. That's
That's why I love hearing the stories because, like we said last time, they all kind of stem from Chinese whispers, like this happened, blah blah blah, but it all links to a real event. So the
yes,
fact that, like you said, you've researched something that you thought had happened, and you found out something that might not have actually happened, but something exactly the same happened, and you found the real story of that. Like it all links into one, doesn't it? And
it does
it's good
definitely.
that
So
you found that out.
even when people do the what, like as a believer, like if there's like teen believers, they say even on the popular TV show that we all know, you could argue that it's both, and both things have happened. But if you're a skeptic, you can't deny the second step,
Facts.
because that one did happen. So there's
Can't
no
deny facts. That's
deny
it.
it. Yeah,
No.
which
Um.
I love.
No, definitely. I mean, I know it's not going to be a long one, so we've finished work. We all want to chill out, but
No, no, no.
before we move on to the other stuff we want to talk about, the last question I want to ask about again about the Wakefield Ghost Walk is: you've had many walks since we last spoke. Has
Yeah.
anything else happened? Has any of the members, the people, the guests, the visitors, whatever, have experienced? Has anything else shocked you? Have you found out anything else whilst walking around? Have you noticed anything been caught on camera, or is there any more updates for us on the Wakefield Ghost Walk?
Yes, on the Wakefield Ghost Walk, probably the one that's most recent was in the vicarage, like what we talked about before, which is the
That's where
last.
you end, isn't it?
Yeah, it's where it ends. Obviously, we talk about the plague doctor that's been seen on the stairs that's gone up, or described sometimes as a parson. But there's also been several sightings of a gentleman that's literally dressed in all Victorian, often seen at the top of the stairs, with a top hat, carrying a pocket watch. And he was actually seen apparently on the last walk that I did, not by
Okay.
me, but by two members of the guests that were there after everyone else had gone, and they were literally chatting to me about my past experiences, about how I got into it. There was other people in the building as well, and they've claimed to have seen him through the thing whilst I was talking. Um, Again, there's been other sightings of like dark shadows in that same area that people have had as they've gone into the building. That's the one where there's been lots of things that have been seen, and people after the ghost walk have said, I felt something. There was another episode that happened with a gentleman that took an EMF reader out with us. He asked beforehand, can I take out with us? And as I say, if you want to bring stuff, you can do. But, it is provisionally me talking. And in the place where I saw something a while back, or at least I believe I saw something a while back.
That's what you spoke about last time.
Yes, it
Upstairs.
was. Yeah. He took the EMF reader into the old vicarage, even though he even said he didn't really want to go in, because he just said that the presence felt horrid as he walked through the door. That was his words. But I said, I'm just really interested, because at this point I didn't have an EMF reader and I wanted to see like what it was. So I asked if I could use it, and he said, no, I'll go in as long as you come in with me. And we walked to the bottom of the stairwell. All night it had gone up like in certain bits, like on the readings of 1,
Mm.
2, everything like that. We got to the exact spot and it went up to 5, and he ran out. which was,
Oh,
literally
strange.
straight to 5. Afterwards, obviously from doing that, seeing how the EMF reader worked and everything, I was then intrigued because I thought, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to see if it is. So I bought one. On the next one that we did, I actually did a baseline test beforehand and went round everything and seeing.
I was just going to say, from paranormal investigators' point of view, when we do private home investigations, we scan the room, we mark out all electrical sockets, turn off the plugs, etc. So
Yes.
it was nothing. It was nothing near no electrical point. I'm guessing no.
No electrical things. And when I did the baseline test, it was on green and nothing's ever come up. I've now got a REM pod, which I set up in that area after the ghost walk because I'll hang around the building, set it up when we're upstairs because people have seen the thing. It's not gone off as yet, and touch wood, it
Mhm.
because I think I'd freak out too much if it did. But we've got that set up now at the end of the walk to see if anything does happen. But it's strange how it came up with on his. It went up to 5, and literally on the exact spot as we walked past, went up to 5, stayed there for a few seconds, then went back down, and nothing since that point, and even after has it ever risen. So
What you need to do is, you say you got your REM pod set up there. Keep the EMF meter up there, the K2 as well at the same time. So
yes,
when you walk in, you can see, even though nothing might not be touching the REM pod, but at least if there's anything there, it'll pick it up on the K2 as well.
yes,
That'd be
definitely.
quite cool to see as you walk in.
No, I agree with you definitely. So yeah, that's the strange one that happened at Wakefield. There is a story that's happened at Pontefract that's very dark. Well, there's 2 actually that's happened. If you want me to go into them, I'm happy
Yes.
to.
So yeah, that's the next thing I was going to jump on to. So last time, by the way, people who haven't seen the first chat that we had with Rob, it is on YouTube and on Spotify. Go check it out if you want to catch up on what Rob's referring to about the last things we spoke about. You'll also find his story about when was you a security guarding a mall, like a
Yes,
shopping centre.
shopping
I
centre.
won't spoil nothing there, but check out the first episode
Yes,
that we chat with Rob, and you'll hear that story. That was quite amazing,
yes,
especially with the escalator part.
yes. That yeah, it still has my mind boggled even to this day, and explains the reason, and it explains about the encounter that I had at the old vicarage and everything like that.
Exactly.
Even though I've dismissed it, it explains it in full of why I think that. Yeah,
And
definitely.
this is where, when you listen back to the other chat we had, you'll hear that Rob was, even after seeing what Rob saw, and again, I'm not throwing no spoilers out because I want you to check out the first episode, but Rob still claims he was a skeptic after seeing something which he cannot explain. So
Yes,
check that out. Anyway, moving on. Last time, Rob, you briefly spoke about, obviously, we were talking about you building up the Wakefield Ghost Walk. That's going really well. And you said you had something else in the pipeline about Pontefract Ghost Walk.
yeah,
You're going to start a second thing going on. So that's going now. I've been following you
yeah.
on Facebook as well. What inspired you to launch the Pontefract Ghost Walk? I can never say that word right. I hope I am,
No,
but
it's fine.
well,
Well, Pontefract actually means broken bridge. That's what the
was it
actual
okay?
yeah, broken bridge. But no, I did a lot of work, obviously doing the Wakefield one, and I was doing some work in Pontefract with a radio station that I'm heavily involved with, and I was helping do the
What's that
padlock.
again? Because you am live on that weekly, aren't you?
No, that's all right. Basically, I help out at a radio station as like a presenter. It's like a community radio station in Wakefield that's called Rhubarb Radio, where I'm a presenter there and I tell ghost stories as well as do other things.
Okay.
And we were helping turn on the Christmas lights in Pontefract.
For again, Rob, sorry, I do apologise. I've got to stop you. But when is that? When's that radio? Is it a weekly thing, a certain
Oh,
time? How can people watch it?
yeah.
Because a
It's
lot of people like hearing these ghost stories.
No, that's fine. So the radio show I do is on Rhubarb Radio. You can access it via the Alexa app. Just say Alexa play Rhubarb Radio and it plays. And it's on a Sunday night from 10 till midnight.
Okay, and
So
that's just you talking.
and it's just me talking about stories that have happened in the Rhubarb Triangle, which is basically where we grow rhubarb in like Wakefield and that kind of district. but I also talk about stories that are linked from beyond. So, like a few weeks ago, I talked about the Padfoot of Pontefract, which is linked to obviously the black dog, the black shuck, all the different things that go around on there, and how it's all interlinked with the stories, but also going across the UK with other different stories that have been developed over time, but more prominently, the stories that have happened in the Rhubarb Triangle itself. So that's kind of what we do.
Okay. So yeah, going back to the Pontefract then. Like I
That's
said,
right. Sorry,
what inspired you to launch it? How did you get around to it?
yeah. So I was doing the helping doing the Pontefract Christmas light switch on at Christmas, and obviously the Wakefield Ghost Walk had been going on for about 6 months at this point. And one of the presenters actually asked the crowd, he does it in Wakefield, should I do it in Pontefract? And the whole crowd literally said yes. And afterwards, a lot of people came with the stories, and I
So
basically,
you're a Wakefield celebrity as well then?
I'm not a celebrity,
Ah,
no,
come on.
no,
You
but
turn on Christmas lights, man. You're a
well,
celebrity.
I was asked to do it, but what's worse is they get me to do it in the curator character. So I was up there with my cloak, and they asked if I would be the miserable soul at Christmas. So basically, I was getting booed and everything like that when I was on stage. So I'm not a celebrity, but there has been times where I've walked down the street, even people that don't know me that do a ghost walk, but because when I'm dressed in the thing, people even as I'm walking
Not
through,
booing.
come on, cheer up, stop being grumpy like you were at Christmas. Although sometimes it's a bit ruder than that, but it is fun, and I do like that kind of aspect of it. So that's kind of how it took shape. I did a pilot one, and exactly the same as the Wakefield, the pilot one sold out. Then did more, and it kind of just snowballed from there. But I mean, with Pontefract, it already has a massive name for itself, obviously, with 30 East Drive, which I know it's currently making a sensation on YouTube with the uncanny stuff that's going on at the moment.
I've been following that, yeah.
Yeah, we don't actually cover that area because obviously, because I focus it on the town centre, I talk about 30 East Drive, but not in that sense, but linking it, for example, with where the gallows were in Pontefract, where they were rumoured to be and everything like that. And how that doesn't sit close. But the main thing that I try to do is I try to plug the 30 East Drive house because I know that they do their own separate experiences where you can
Yeah.
hire it out for the night and trying to plug it that way. It's a bit like the same as Pontefract Castle. I try to plug them as well because they have their own like dungeon tour, their own tours of the castle. So I kind of try to offer a little slither of it, but do it so it plugs them, if that makes
Me,
sense.
me and my team, like, well, I keep saying my team, Amanda's Paranormal Live, and I go about those. We'd love to go, but I'll be honest with you, Rob, it's so expensive.
It is. You're
So
right.
expensive for a normal team. Work simple paid jobs and all that. You can't pay for it. And
No.
I'm one of the sort of people that we'd rather do our own thing than go about having to pay someone and watch them. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. No.
So it is tricky, but it's the same with most big name places, isn't it?
It is. I mean, one thing I can give you a little snippet of, and again, I'll ask you can ask you because I need to know whether I should do or not. I've actually been invited because there's a paranormal group that's going to go to 30 East Drive very soon. I'm going to say like the end of the year. I can't give the exact date, but there's a spare space, and
Do it.
they've asked if I would go. Yeah.
Definitely do it.
So yeah. So
It's one of those places. It's like I think any paranormal investigator. It's on your bucket list. A lot of people think now that it's been overdone. It's been turned into one of those venues where things happen. But it's one of those where you just because of the stories, especially for you being a bit of a historian, I think you've got to go
oh yeah,
just to
definitely.
say you've been there.
It's just to kind of say that I've been there and kind of seen
Exactly.
the eyes. But it's like what I say, the stories that I do are more concentrated on the town centre itself, which is often overlooked, in my opinion. And the amount of stories that exist there, I mean, some that are really, really creepy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But also true, when I say true, like accounts that I get given more or less on a weekly basis of things that have been seen and heard that people have said, "Oh, I had this happen," but it links to like a historical event. So, like, if I tell you this story now, and it's one of the, if you ever research Pontefract and Pontefract history, it's like one of the main darkest stories that actually happened.
Is this what you talk about on the walk as well?
Yes, I
This
talk
story.
about it
Okay.
as well, but I don't mind giving a few snippets of it.
Yeah.
Back in 1917, so you're talking like in the middle of World War One, there were two soldiers that were kind of either disbanded or AWOL from the army, and their surnames were Cardwell and Barrett. Cardwell was around 21 years of age and a lance corporal. He had 6 wound stripes, so he was a very brave gentleman on the battlefield, or at least that's what it looks like. Barrett was only 18, 19 years old, and he had 2 wound stripes. So again, seemed to be very courageous, very brave, but Barrett was a private and Cardwell was a lance corporal. And they were staying in Ackworth, which is basically just on the outskirts of Pontefract. And it said that in the September of that year, they were walking into Pontefract, and to cut a long story short, they decided that they would rob a jeweller's, which is on the outskirts of Pontefract. It's no longer a jeweller's now; it's a different business, so I can't really go into too much of that. But they decided that we're going to rob it. Now, from eyewitness accounts, it seems like Cardwell was the person that was basically waiting outside and basically being the lookout. And it was Barrett that went into the building to rob it. But in the course of the robbery, a lady that was running the shop on her own, called Rhonda Walker, unfortunately was beaten to a pulp with a walking stick that was apparently owned by Cardwell. It took her a couple of days to die. Obviously, they did find her in the shop, but Cardwell and Barrett managed to grab the loot of what they managed to do, and they managed to flee to London. But they were caught only a couple of months later in London, even with the blood-soaked rings and necklaces and everything like that of what they'd taken. They were brought back to Pontefract, where at first they went to the magistrates' court in Pontefract, before they were then passed over to Army prison, and where they were tried, and they were both hung for the crimes. Now, Cardwell always maintained his innocence, saying that he was just the lookout, which was even written about in letters to his family, and even blamed Barrett, saying that he was a coward and should have owned up to everything that had happened, in his opinion. But again, they both died in the prison. They were buried in the prison grounds. Now, again, very creepy story, not really much, but the way in which I was linked to that story was from a lady who approached me at the Christmas light switch on that said, "Did I know anything about a school that's on the outskirts of Pontefract?" And where she'd seen a World War I soldier, in her opinion, walking down the road. But what makes it even more like, as a skeptic, it's like, right, okay, it could be her imagination, was that her mum was with her. So it was 2 eyewitnesses that saw the same thing. And they described this soldier. They did say that he was wounded and he was like clutching his chest. They have tried to like point out that it seemed like that he did have wound stripes on his arm, which again is thingy. They heard the drum beat. That was before they saw him. It was basically heard like a drum call, the banging of the drums. Suddenly, like appeared. He walked down the road towards Pontefract, but then disappeared.
Was this like a glimpse, or did they not think of going up to him, see like what's this guy holding his chest for? Or...
Apparently, it was only a few seconds. They stood at the side of the road. They just thought, that's really strange. That's really odd. And when it disappeared, they both just turned to one another and went, "Did you see that?" It was kind of like weird. But the strange thing was that she contacted me in the December, and she said that it happened in the September or 2 years before in 2023. So basically, you're talking like the exact same month as what it would have been back in 1917, which to me, I'm like, that's quite incredible. Obviously, they couldn't pin down the exact date of when it was because that would have been incredible. But the fact that it was the same month, it could be related. I mean, we do have to look at as well the fact of obviously there is a barracks in Pontefract. It could be unrelated and it being like a glimpse of the barracks that were used during World War One, and maybe they used that as like patrol routes or routines or parade. But to me, the fact that it was walking towards Pontefract, it was one person, how they described him. It's very difficult to ignore, if you get what I mean.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so just getting back into the Pontefract thing, I know it's probably hard for you to compare, Rob, because obviously you are the face of the Wakefield Ghost Walk. You are the guy.
Oh,
Have you got a favourite
oh,
Wakefield
oh,
Pontefract?
now you're asking me.
What do you enjoy doing more, or do you think that you've not got into Pontefract so much because you've not been doing it as long?
It's weird. I would say it depends what you like. Wakefield wise, there's loads of stories. I have obviously got more research and more things done with that. The one I really like. It is a bit shorter than the Wakefield one because obviously Wakefield it's spread out. It's a massive area, so
That's a good question actually. How long do they last for? Just for the viewers, is it?
yeah.
Like,
So yeah, the Wakefield one lasts around 90 minutes. That's walking, but there is a half an hour bit at the start at the actual pub where we meet, which I know I'm going to talk about in a minute. The Pontefract one starts at a really old building, which is the counting house, but it's an inn now. But it used
yeah,
to be a merchant's counting house back in 1609, and has all sorts of different stories that are very creepy, but also quite historical, in my opinion, and really, really intriguing. And that starts there. And the Pontefract one basically just goes around the town centre, which is less than a quarter of a mile. So it literally only lasts about an hour. So it's a lot shorter, but you don't lose anything because what I like to do is we've got a buttercross in the Pontefract, and it is a great historical landmark. It's got like benches that look like a table in the middle of it, and it's where I can bring out some of the relics that I've talked about before, but ones that I've got specifically for the walk that, in my opinion, are really good that people can actually handle. So,
okay.
so it's not like,
Hmm.
oh, this is a thing of doing this. I mean, like one of the things I talk about is old barber shops. Now, if you ever go to a barber, have you ever seen the pole that has the white, red, and blue stripes on it?
Yeah, the flashy sign, the lit
Yeah.
up sign, something. Yeah,
Do you know why they have that?
I mean, everyone knows it's linked to barbers, don't they? But so no one really knows why it's there.
Oh, well, it's actually to do with in the olden days, particularly like the Victorian period and everything, barbers used to be barber surgeons. And the main thing that they used to do was what's called bloodletting, which is where people believed that you had to purge your blood every now and again. So you would go and get your hair cut, but then they would use bloodletting tools where they would slice your arm slightly, let you bleed out a little bit, and then wrap your arm up in order to get rid of the badness out of you. That is basically what they did.
That's why everyone shaved their own hair back in the day. Then makes sense.
Like
Everyone was a skinhead.
where it then comes to like the razor blade, but that's why it was called blood and bandages as well. Obviously, they did cutthroat shaving and everything like that, but it was more the bloodletting. That is what they used to do, and it's interesting because the courthouse that I talked about before, the magistrates' court, where Cardwell and Barrett actually were tried, provisionally in Pontefract, that's now become an antique shop. And I've actually made the best purchase, I think, in my opinion, that I ever could, because I came across a bloodletting barber surgeon's kit in there for the grand total of £11, which I bought. I don't think they had a clue of what it was.
No.
Um, I've since researched and looked on eBay, just to see how
600 plus.
About 270 was the cheapest one that I could find. So they are like thingy, and that one's obviously being used. So that's like one of the things that you see on the walk. I have an amputation saw, which again is linked to a story that I show, plus some other bits and pieces as well that's linked to it. So it's not like this is a thing, but they're all things that have been used that people can touch, take photographs with. I mean, it's quite funny. I went and visited the Wakefield Mental Health Museum that's just opened up at Fieldhead Hospital. That is basically like a homage to Stanley Royd Lunatic Asylum that existed right here in Wakefield. And it was hilarious because they invited me to come, which I did, to help plug, support. They knew about the history, but a lot of the things they had in the cabinet, such as like I talked to you about the clockwork electric shock machine,
You've already got at home.
which I've already got at home. But I was saying, point out like that's not got half the bits with it. It needs to have this. This is how it works. Oh, I've got that at home. Oh, do you know what this is? And I was like pointing out and saying, no, that's what this was used for. That's what this was used for. But what was incredible about it is, which again, it's great because if you've not been to the museum, it is fantastic. They've even got like a mortuary table that's being used there. There's a witching mirror that was apparently made by one of the people that was actually a patient there that's said to be haunted. There's loads and loads of great things.
You've really plugged Wakefield. I've got to say, you've really plugged it. There's a lot to do in Wakefield, by the sounds of it.
If I can do that, if I can just get one person into Wakefield, I feel as though I've done my job because I don't do it for profit. I don't do it to kind of do this. I think, like what I even say on my ghost walk, the main reason why I started doing this was because I wanted to increase tourism into Wakefield and into Pontefract. And if I can get one person outside of Wakefield into Wakefield or into Pontefract, I've done my job. That's basically.
There's quite a few well-known names that I've worked with, like paranormal investigation wise, that come from Wakefield, and I've had certain museums and stuff over there. I won't go into that because that's like past stories. I don't want to go into that.
No.
But yeah, there is a lot of history to Wakefield, and there seems to be a lot of paranormal people from across the country seem to be close by, or at least around Wakefield. I've found.
Yeah.
So moving on, Rob. Going back, we're talking about Wakefield now. Let's go back to it. The Black Horse Pub. Now you've been doing a lot of I don't know if it's up and coming or if you've got paranormal stuff in sense going on there. You did mention that you've got a lot of links to the Black Horse now.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
So the Black Horse is the pub where we start on the Ghost Walk. And when I first started, there was three main stories that are linked to the pub itself. Since obviously doing it over the last year, collecting all the stories, collecting all the newspaper articles, we've found out that instead of it being one or two deaths that have been attributed to that pub, where I can say, 3 people are rumoured to die in that pub, a month ago, and this is the reason why we've launched this special night, we have had confirmed, and I can verify that there has been 11 deaths that have happened in that pub. 11. Every single one.
That's what you know of.
That's what we know of. But the other thing as well is upstairs in the room above, it was rumoured that it was a magistrate's court at one point. That was what we all believed of what we thought it was. It was an old magistrate's court that people would come in and do it. Since doing the research, obviously talking with and working alongside Tony, who's the landlord there, and all the newspaper things and everything like that, and the research, it wasn't a magistrate's court. It was the official coroner's inquest court of Wakefield. So it was actually where bodies would be coming, probably laid out, particularly the ones that like kind of happened on Westgate. I know that there was other inquests that happened in other pubs around the area, but at one time, one of the main venues was this pub, and it was upstairs that it was the inquest court where people would gather around and listen to all the deaths that had happened in that area and like basically go through from the point of view of I even know the coroner's name that was used a lot of the times in the inquest. So it's not just the fact of that, yes, it's got 11 things attached to it, but it's that there's even more stories as well that's attached to that building about other events that have happened in the city, which to me is like, how can I talk about this on a ghost walk when I only have like half an hour to talk about it, if that, and that's because people come, they sit and have a pizza before they start on the walk that I was already doing. But how can I fit 11 stories into half an hour? I can't do it. So we've decided to launch as a one night only just to see how it goes on the 2nd of June and it's called Secrets of the Black Horse, where you can pay, come down, and literally it's like a 3 hour event where we're talking about all the history of the building, all the stories, including the ones that I tell on the Ghost Walk, but also the other 8 that haven't, talking about some of the things that I know that the pub was used for, as well as it being the coroner's court, and also being able to get access to, well, this is not just me that gets access, but we're hoping that the people that come to the like night being able to go down into the cellar that's reputed to be haunted, and the landlord's going to take people down in small groups down into the cellar, and we're going to have like a REM pod in there, the EMF reader and everything like that, where they can sit in the dark in the cellar and try and see if anything like kind of comes through, coming up upstairs, demonstrating a spirit box, and even if we can't get into the bedrooms upstairs, because I know that they rent them out, from time to time, because it is kind of like doing it a bit like, I want to say Airbnb, but it's not Airbnb, but where you can stay the night in a haunted room. That is basically the thing of what they're doing at the moment. And if the room's being used, then obviously we can't go into them. But if they're not being used, we'll be able to go upstairs and actually see the bedrooms that are apparently haunted up there, as well as seeing the room that was possibly, well, I say possibly, I know it is now, the coroner's inquest room, and seeing that as well. So you could be able to see all of that, see all the history about the building, and then at the end, even see all the relics and stuff like that that I've got that is all linked to like coroner's inquest and stuff like that, and all the newspaper articles that have been developed. So, for, in my opinion, £18, and you get a free slice of pizza thrown in, you can't go wrong. Yeah.
You have to see if you can get me and the team down there, Rob. See if we can have a couple of hours down there. We've got all the gear, but hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of gear. Do you know what I mean? So we'll bring it all down.
Yep.
2-3 hours. That's all we need. You guys can film, join in. The landlords can join in.
Brilliant.
And you might catch some stuff you can talk about in your ghost books.
Oh no, that would be brilliant. I can talk to Tony and do that. I know that the old vicarage, if you want to do that as well, that one would be an easy to get into.
We've got an odd location we're doing on the 2nd of May. So yeah, I mean, end of, say July onwards, really. I'm sure we could book something and sort some out.
Yeah.
How far's Wakefield from me? I'm like near Birmingham, Dudley.
Near Birmingham. I would say it'd be about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, something like that.
That's not too bad for a weekend. So.
Kind of near Leeds way, if you know where Leeds is. It's kind of there, yeah.
Being a pub, though, obviously it would have to be a weekend, and you wouldn't be able to do nothing while people are in there, would you? Really?
No, I know. Obviously, yeah, on a weekend, I know that they'd go late on like Friday and Saturday, and I know that they have like music nights now on Sunday. But I'm sure we'll be able to work some way of doing it or anything like that. I know Tony's opened it up before for other paranormal investigators, because I've talked about the other paranormal investigators that have been there before even I started doing the ghost walks and stuff that came in like 2017 and stuff, that there's been YouTube clips of and things like that happened in the pub. So yeah.
No, definitely be cool.
Yeah. Definitely.
I've got cases and cases of crap, Rob. Obviously, like gear. This is just
bang.
This is not special box.
Right.
About 10-year-old. It's full of like REM pods, like spirit boxes, all sorts. Like I've spent way too much money on gear over the years, but gear as in paranormal gear, just for the people that are listening on Spotify. That's the gear I'm talking about.
And one thing as well, and I forgot to mention, and I should have mentioned it at the start as well. There's a spirit box that's and it's called a Paranormic. Have you heard of it? Paranormic spirit box.
Are you talking about an app or a box?
No, it's a box. Proper, like, it, obviously a radio, ITC. It physically scans and
Rings a bell. There's a lot of them in there.
You can buy them now on Amazon, and they're actually, when they first came out and stuff, they were about £80 to £100. I think last time I looked, they've dropped down in price even to 60, around about that price. Don't quote me on it, please. If you've gone and had a look, it is around about that price. But Paranormic, they're basically like a start-off company. They're doing really, really well. They've done lots of things. Like they are
Of
predominantly,
course, you mentioned it to me before a message. That
yes.
yes, I looked into him. Of course, yeah, I knew the name rang a bell. I just couldn't think where.
They're very prominent in America and everything. And there's lots of like reviews and things done in America with people using them. But it's the Spirit Box is actually quite good because it has a built-in flashlight. It's obviously got the thing. It's got a dictaphone like kind of capability, so you can even dictaphone if you're not wanting to use it as a spirit box. You can set it up in a room and do it like that. So it
Yeah,
basically is a multifunctional thing. And the guy that kind of helps run it, sort it out, that's helped create it, he actually got in touch with me after I dropped him a message saying, "Oh, it looks really good, the functions and stuff." And he's asked me to help, like, kind of review, promote it in England, particularly, and to help do it like that. So there's quite a few clips of me, particularly in the Drunken Fungus, which is another haunted place, but that's in Pontefract, where we finish, where I've actually started to do little mini paranormal investigations in the pub at the end after people have gone using the spirit box, and the stuff that it's come out with, even I don't know, like, even as a skeptic, I you can't just say it's a coincidence. In my opinion, it's
tell you what, Rob. I don't know if you're free on the 2nd of May, but we've actually got space available for our private investigation.
oh
It's in Wolverhampton.
right.
I think it's, don't quote me. I think it's about £20 a ticket. There's like 10 of us going, but we've
Oh,
hired the building. It's a really historical building. You'd enjoy it for the history itself. But I think we've got eight. We're there 8 till 2 or something like that. So you're welcome to tag along. I'm sure if you want to.
I have a feeling, I might be wrong. I will have to double check the date, but I have a feeling the old vicarage are having a like night of the first paranormal investigation that they're doing.
Ah,
Uh,
right.
this is in Wakey. I can't remember the group because it's not the group, but it's the lady that like runs like the vicarage room upstairs. And I know she's asked me to go in just as a talk, like a speaker
Okay.
thingy. But otherwise, I'd have loved to. I will
Uh,
double check the date though, because if it's not, yeah, I'll try my best to come down.
yeah, I think we can have like a minimum. We don't really want no more than 10 because the more
Yeah,
people you got, it's not as enjoyable, is it? But I think we got about 8 of us at the minute. So
brilliant. No, that if I can, I definitely would be up for it.
yeah.
Definitely. Um,
So I don't want to like exactly say where it is at the moment, but the history behind it. I'm going there for the investigation, but I'm filming like an episode because there's you could do a walk on it. Let's say there's like so
yeah.
much link, but
Wow.
yeah, that's really cool.
No, that's brilliant.
Um, okay, so Rob, it's Friday night, man. I think we're going to wrap up soon. Is there anything you want to say or talk about before we go? Anything you want to speak
The
on?
the only thing I'd say is obviously if you do want to do like if anyone's interested in like the secrets of the Black Hawk Night, or the Wakefield Ghost Walk or the Pontefract Ghost Walk. If you just type in any of them names, Secrets of the Black Horse, Wakefield Ghost Walk, or Pontefract Ghost Walk in Eventbrite, it comes straight up with all the tickets that are available and any of the dates that are available, so you can get on then. I know the two Ghost Walks sell out massively. The Secrets of the Black Horse, not many people know, I think, because obviously it doesn't have walk in the name, it doesn't explain what it is. So there's still quite a few tickets left for
Well,
that
that's
night.
still new, isn't it? That's still a brand new thing, really, so that you started. So
So if you are interested in it and you definitely want to come down, just either drop me an email. You can just do that by going on my Facebook page of
well,
Wakefield Go.
you've got YouTube yourself, haven't you, Rob?
Yes,
You're
I
on
have.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Okay, so when this comes out, it's Friday now. This will be out on Sunday.
sure.
Can you post in the comments just all your links,
Of course I
anything
can.
for like Facebook, whatever, just so people know where to go to? Because you can type in anything on Facebook and it comes up with thousands of different things on all over the
Oh,
world, doesn't it?
no.
Can't click in.
Probably a better way of doing it. So yeah. So if you do interested in that, um, And again, there'll be more things that are coming out over the next months or whatever, I'm hoping. So, yeah,
Yeah.
so keep an eye
I
on it.
mean, one of the last questions I was going to ask you was what's next for you? Any new projects, locations, investigations coming up? But I don't expect you to answer that because I know off camera there is something pretty cool
There is
that you
some,
can't discuss and we can't
there
talk
is
about.
some pretty cool coming up that we can't talk about, but that is coming up that I know we'll probably meet up at some point in the future and talk about. Um, I have started because the Rhubarb Radio Ghost Frequency show that I talked about before on the Sunday from 10 till midnight. They asked if I'd be able to do like podcasts and stuff like that and help stream. So I've actually started to create my own podcast, but it is
Okay, cool.
just about the stories. But like for example, that Barrett and Cardwell story, I've actually done that on a podcast already as like a trial thing. And if you type in the curator's tales on Spotify, you can even hear me talking about the story in great detail and everything like that about it, and hopefully doing a frequent thing on that as well. So you'll be able to.
Rob, I can picture you like the geezer from Uncanny. Do you know what I mean? But Ian, you play a better part. You play a better role. You can tell the stories. You can tell the stories. Do you know what I mean? He seems like I enjoy the show and I like it, but I think you could tell a story. Like you could do the research all over the country and like talk the story on it.
Oh,
You should do something like that on your podcast. Start
if
your podcast channel and talk about what you know across the world, the country, whatever.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'd love to do it. I mean, like with the uncanny thing, the thing that they talked about, because obviously they've talked about this Pontefract 30 East Drive, and the thing that I was like, yes, because I like even again, I don't think it's from me. I think it's from their own research, but it kind of gave me like a thing of yes,
Clarification. Like,
yes, yes, my thing's right. The thing that I always got skeptical about with 30 East Drive. I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm not saying that it's, that there's anything haunted there. But the thing that I couldn't understand was that why was Mr. Nobody, as he's called, hung in the grounds of that property when I know that the gallows locations and the execution spots in Wakefield were at other areas, if you get what I
yeah.
mean. So why would it be that he was hung there? It's not saying that he didn't get hung there. He possibly could.
Just what was it lawful?
Yes, exactly. Or in my mind of like, is that a bit of the story that's maybe wrong that actually he was hung somewhere else, or he wasn't even executed there, or the execution thing's wrong, or maybe the story's slightly, nobody knows quite what it is. But to me, that's the thing that I found interesting, and it was great that they explored that in the second episode of it. And I was like, oh my god, that's what I've been saying for ages. Of that's the bit that
You're talking about the one on YouTube now. I'm guessing.
yes, right, yeah, the one on
Yeah.
YouTube.
See, I'm more of a visual person. Like I enjoyed the TV show.
Yes, I agree with you.
I was getting into the YouTube one, but I like to see the visual side of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, no, I could
On it.
completely. Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully they bring it back and do it on telly as well.
I hope they do, because it's one of the things that I absolutely loved. I mean, like this is one of the things again where, as much as I come across as Mr. Know It, well, when I say Mr. Know It all, know the history, know everything that goes on, particularly in the Rhubarb Triangle. I have a hilarious story, and it was I was driving through Crofton because my in-laws come from Crofton. That's where they live, and obviously, Uncanny have talked about the Shadow Man that's supposed to lurk around Crofton. It was episode 3, I think, of the second series that they did.
I think.
And I have to laugh because at the time it was before the episode was released. It was before like the first series of Uncanny had been on TV and it had passed me by. I didn't know anything about it. And I actually drove through Crofton one morning and it was when it was slightly foggy, slightly wet. And there was a bloke with long black hair, with a red anorak jacket, stood at the side of the road, being filmed by a BBC film crew, and I had no idea what was going on and just drove past him going, oh, they're obviously doing something there. And I am gutted that literally 6 months later, found out about Uncanny, watched all the first
It
series.
could have been me. It could have been me.
I
God damn it.
pulled up the side of the road and seen him. I couldn't have talked about it, but yeah. So there you go. and I kicked myself. I'm still kicking myself now of, oh my God, I drove past Danny Robbins and didn't stop. There you go. So there you go.
No, but yeah, thank you for joining us again, Rob. It's always interesting to talk to you. There was a lot more questions I wanted to ask, but say Friday night, I like to chill for a little bit.
No, it's fine. It's not a problem. Well, if you want to have me back again, you know where I am. I know.
Definitely.
The main thing is that I'm not boring everyone with everything that what I talk about, because I know what I'm driveling on. Definitely.
People enjoy it. People do enjoy it. All I'd say is let me know about the 2nd of May if you're free.
Yeah,
I'll talk to the team, see if there's any spaces available. I'm sure there is at present. I'm sure they'd love to have you there as well because
brilliant.
Recording history. Drop your comments, drop your links all in the YouTube comments so people can just straight down to there. Even your email, if they want to contact you direct, let them know how to get to you. And yet, next time we have you on, probably a couple of months from now, and without, I don't want to say, but when's the date of that thing that's supposed? Is that October?
Yes, that's October.
Okay, so we're planning for some time after that next to speak to you, hopefully.
Yes, definitely. I reckon I'll be able to talk about it. I reckon August, September. That's when I'll be able.
So like the build up of it, then, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So yeah, maybe another 2 times this year, Rob. We'll have a chat, the build up, and then what you've experienced after it.
I love being on, so yeah, definitely. No, I'd love it.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us, and we shall we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for everyone that listened.
That's all right. You're very welcome.